Alright, what's going on, people? So today, we're out here in good old Arkansas. Just came from Oklahoma on my first stop. Still got one more to deliver in Louisiana. And I picked this up pretty much right at home, which was kind of cool. So it's got a good amount of miles on it, and it's some interesting stuff. I got like a forklift, and I just dropped I think it's like a generator motor or something to that effect. Maybe it's electric. I don't know what it was. They don't pay me to know this stuff. They just pay me to keep it on the trailer and keep it safe. That's really all I'm here for. So it got there. It's good. But this load has taught me a thing or two. Okay? So, and it's not unusual to do like multiple stop loads. I'm not saying that that's like something that I just now learned or something like that. Like, oh, I've never done a multi-stop load or whatever. No, I've done it, I don't know, a lot. But picking this load up was different. And I'm not going to say the name of the company that I picked it up from or anything like that. It was up in Green Bay, and they're just, I think pretty much all they do is like paper supplying, I'm pretty sure. They might do other stuff. Typically, this place is like paper or, like, I think I've gotten lumber from them too. Or maybe I've dropped it off there. Not this exact place. You get what I'm saying. So, that's the kind of place we were dealing with. And I got, my workflow, all that crap. And, it tells me where I'm picking up, where I'm dropping off, fuel stops, all that good stuff. Got all my information in there. And it just says equipment on there. And it's got a couple of numbers for, basically you got to give numbers to guards so they know where to send you, what exactly you're getting. Usually it corresponds with some sort of a load ID for the company. So they just, that's how they keep track of things, I guess. Something to that effect. Oh boy, how fast is this guy going? Anyways, so I go over to this place, and at this point I had just gotten done with the always challenging and reasonably fun local run that I cover sometimes. It's a 400-mile run with, I think there was like 8 stops on it. Something like that. But yeah, 400 miles, 8 stops, and you get to pull a Conestoga trailer, which you would think would be fun, but I don't like that trailer at all. I don't know if it's just because it's old, or maybe it's not old and it just doesn't work properly. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with it, but I just don't really jive with it that much. I'd rather pull a straight up flatbed, but it is what it is. Got it done, and made some pretty reasonable time. Was headed up to the place to pick up my junk, and I get there, and it's all van trailers. The whole place is van trailers. I pull into the guard shack right in the front, and I'm like, am I about to be pulling a box? Like, I don't really want to pull a box, but I guess I will. Like, I don't really care that much, but it's kind of weird. And I get into the guard shack, and I'm like, hey, picking up a load for yada yada, going to, it's got the 2 stops, it's got the 1 stop here and the 1 stop there. And they're like, okay, do you have a pickup number? And I'm like, yes, I do. Gave them my number, and they're like, yeah, we don't have anything. And I'm like, okay, it says that it's equipment, and it says that it's going here and here. And usually, if the pickup number doesn't work, they can usually figure something out. They can usually deduce what load you're getting based on where it's going from there. It typically goes like that in flatbed, and this is where I, sort of learned how these van places work. And they're basically just like, okay, that's cool, but we don't know what you're getting. And I'm like, all right. And, you know, they're asking me for, like, a contact to pick up for, and I can't remember what else, you know, all sorts of different numbers and stuff like this, and I'm like, you know, my head's spinning. I'm like, what are you exactly saying? Like, I'm sure that this is sort of out of the norm for you guys and all of this, and I'm like, I can't remember how we got to it, but the lady in the guard shack was eventually like, oh wait, you're on a flatbed, and I'm like, yeah, I am. And she's like, oh, okay, you know, this is weird too, and nothing became of that either, and I was like, what is going on around here? So to backtrack a little bit, basically, the reason that this is sort of important to me is because in a couple of years down the line, my cousin is going to turn 21, and the plan is to team with them. And I was like, you know, it would be a really good idea to, you know, pull a van or a reefer trailer, because then you could, you know, have an option to just do drop and hooks and just keep that thing blazing down the road. And now I realize that it's a completely different system with van and reefer as compared to flatbed. Flatbed is incredibly relaxed with you know, how shippers and receivers are. I realize this now. I just never knew it before, but I got more to this story. So basically, you know, we're trying to figure out this load, and she's like, oh, I think I found something about it. It says that you were supposed to be here from 7 in the morning till 12, somewhere in that window. And I'm like, you know, that wasn't what I had, but I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I was, you know, just running around in the UP all morning, so I guess that wouldn't have worked. They gave me a pickup time of, I think it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I was like, yeah, they just gave me a different pickup time for it. And they're like, oh, well, this is something that's supposed to be handled by day shift, and we have no idea what's going on. And I was like, you know, you guys are still guards, right? Like, you're supposed to understand how, like, at least some of this works. And I, you know, thinking about it now, it's probably something that they had seen once or twice if they've been there for a year or two. It's probably not that common, so it, you know, it's not a normal procedure or whatever, so you can't really put the blame on it for all of that. But she's like, yeah, you know, I have pretty much nothing. I don't know what to do with it, and no one else has any idea what's going on. And I'm like, you know, this is not normal for flatbed. Usually, even if it's a big place, usually if you're like, you know, oh, here's my pickup number, you know, it's for this company, and it's going, you know, to this place, they'll be like, okay, got it, go over there, park, someone will come out to get you, stuff like that. But here, they're like, we have no idea what's going on. We don't understand anything you're throwing at us. Nothing is corresponding at all. They're like, go back to your truck, call dispatch, try and get something else. And I got something else, but again, nothing. And so they're like, you know, okay, just wait out there, and we'll see if we can dig something up and hopefully, you know, figure out what in the world is going on around here. And I'm like, all right. So I go sit out there for a little while, and at this point, like I had said before, I had already done I think it was like 11-hour, that little local run, that was like 11 hours right there. So I really only had like 3 hours by the time I showed up there, and we burned through them. We burned through them real quick. So at this point, after sitting in the truck for an hour, it's time to make a call on whether I'm going to be able to pick this load up, or if I'm going to have to stay there for the night, or if I'm going to have to leave and go and find a place to park. So with an hour left on my clock, I'm like, you know, this is probably a good time to go check if they'll let me take a little naparoo off in the corner or something. So I go up there and I'm like, yeah, you know, do you have a a place that I could park for the night? I'm getting kind of low on hours. And they're like, oh yeah, you know, we got a place over around the corner. Yeah, just go park in lot 8. And I'm like, okay, how do I get there? And she's like, oh, you just go over there. And I'm like, all right. So I just go out the driveway, and then, you know, immediately across the road. And she's like, no, you go over there. And I'm like, how do I get over there? And she, like, I think we did this back and forth thing like 3 times total. And I'm like, what do you, like, where do you want me to go? Like, I do not understand. And eventually another driver had to explain it to me. He's like, you know, take a right out of the driveway, go around on the lights, take a left, and then it'll be right on your left. And I'm like, thank you. You know, someone who has some answers around here. This is great. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And she's like, whoa, hold up. And she hands me this sheet of paper, and she's like, just put this on your window, you know, like tape it up so our security guard can see it. And this was a first for me. I was like looking at this piece of paper like, what do I need this for? But it made sense because it had a, you know, I can't exactly, I think I still have it in the truck actually, but it was basically a sheet of paper saying that I was authorized to park my truck there for the next 10, 12 hours or whatever. I can't remember how long of a time they gave me, but it was basically something saying, you know, if a security guard pulled up and was like, what are you doing? They would kind of get the gist based off of this sheet of paper. So kind of a good idea, but at the same time it was like, you know, my head spinning. I'm like, what is this? And I'm just like, okay, I'll just pin it up and then, yeah. Well, so I go down the road looking for this place to park, and it's nowhere to be found, of course. But I did see a parking lot, and so I was like, I'm going around the block and I'm parking in the parking lot because there was really nothing in there. You know, I don't really care if they don't want me to park there because there's nothing in there. You know, I could understand if it was like a place for employees to park their cars, but there's like no one in this parking lot, and I'm pretty much thinking that I'm going to be gone by, you know, 5, 6 in the morning, which was the case. So I'll be out of there real early, and it's not going to be an issue for anyone. So I pull around, and I park my truck, get all of my stuff situated, and lay down, and that's when I get the call, you know, hey, is this that driver that was looking to pick up that load? And I'm like, yes, it is. And she's like, oh, we finally figured it out. You know, of course, once I get all of my stuff situated, it's go time, it's game time. She's like, okay, I'll send the security guard over there, and he'll lead you to where you need to go. And I'm like, you know, we're doing something right here. This is great. You know, I don't have to just run around and get lost. And, you know, dude shows up. He's like, follow me. We get over there, and it was just kind of funny to watch these, I guess you would call them loaders. I don't know what your forklift operators, you know, whatever your technical term would be for these people, but it was kind of funny to watch them drive out onto my trailer because there's no sides on my trailers, and that's what they're apparently very used to. So this guy's like inching onto my trailer. He's like, and I'm standing there thinking like it's the same size as a, you know, normal van trailer, but you can just, you know, get the breeze going through your beard a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think it just threw him for a loop a little bit. It was kind of funny to watch. But yeah, we got it all done there, and it was no real complications or anything like that. But then then I pull out and go back to where I was. I'm like, you know, that's my spot. I'm staying there for the night. Well, this guy passed me. We're gonna drop a couple mile an hour. Hello. I don't like people riding alongside me when I'm speaking. Is that? What in the world? That's crazy. But I hate that thing. So I get back over to my little spot for the night and get posted up, lay down, and I'm ready for a little nap. And I think it took like 20 or 30 minutes or something like that. But eventually that security guard that had led me in there came back over and knocked on my door, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm definitely in the wrong spot, but I don't really mean to be. I mean, hopefully this guy's he's got the right place to put me in. He's gonna, direct me properly to where I need to be. This was not the case. I opened my door, and I'm like, hey man, how's it going? And he's like, oh, it's going pretty good. Oh, this is not good. I don't like doing this. Ugh. Bunch of slop. When a truck is broken down or stopped on the shoulder, and then you got a car right next to you, so you can't get over. I don't like doing that, because you never really know what they're going to do, or if they're going to just swing the door wide open and then you just take it right off. But it didn't happen. I just don't like doing it. Now, where in the world was I? Yeah, so he opens the door, or he opens the door, I open the door in my truck. So I open the door, and he's like, hey, how long are you going to be here? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be here until, maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. And he's like, no, like, how long are you supposed to be here? And I'm like, till like 5 or 6. And he's like, no, let me see that sheet of paper that you got from the guard shack. And I'm like, oh, like, okay. And this, again, is one of those things where I just had no idea what was going on, because, I had never seen a sheet of paper like that. Usually you just park off to the side and you take a nap and no one bothers you. But, this is apparently a van or a reefer thing where you gotta actually have some documentation saying that you need to be there, what have you. I don't know if this is just for big places or whatever, but he's like, oh yeah, you look good, it looks good, the paper, it looks good to have you stay here overnight. The guy in the security tower wants you to leave though. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't do that, because at this point I'm way out of hours. I'm toast. I can't go anywhere. And he's like, oh, how many hours do you have left? And I'm like, yeah, I ran out of hours a couple of hours ago. And he's like, oh, okay, the guy in the tower, he just wanted you to leave or whatever. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I would if I could, but I just can't. And this was hilarious to me at the time. Hilarious, because I'm the only truck in this lot. And the dude in the tower was like, I don't like it, man. That one truck right over there, he's just messing up, the whole emptiness of that lot. And I just would like to have him gone so the lot's nice and empty for me. I just thought it was hilarious that this guy wanted to bother me like that. But, yeah, I don't know. It was quite the adventure to pick the thing up. It was way more complicated than it needed to be, but I guess that's just how they do things in a van or reefer division. And I'm sure that this is something that's different over other divisions, like tanker, what do they call those? Pneumatic dump trailers, all kinds of stuff. There's all sorts of stuff out here, and I'm sure that every single place is completely different in what they're used to doing with loading and unloading, and I probably would look like a bit of a dingleberry if I showed up to any of these places, because I'm incredibly used to, how flatbed places operate. I don't know. I just thought it was a little interesting. Figured I'd throw it out there. But yeah, I'm going to keep cruising through Arkansas, and y'all can have yourself a good day if you want to, or not. I don't know what you want to do. But yeah, I'm going to let you go. Bye-bye.